el exec, el exec. El Velez, el Velez, el Velez. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to the Exec Talk podcast. I'm your host, Velez. What's up? How we doing? God bless you guys. Thank you for all the support. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're new, follow me on all my socials. Links are in the description. Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals. One's over. Sadly, one's over. And then the other one is going to a game 6 today. Okay? And in the Stanley Cup, we have our matchup. It's a rematch from last year, Edmonton Oilers versus our Florida Panthers, trying to go for our second straight cup and making it to the finals for the third time in a row. Only I think 5 teams have done that. The last were the Tampa Bay Lightning, and 9 teams have won back-to-back cups. Super hard to do in the history of the NHL. We just, before we get into basketball, I want to talk about hockey for a bit. Edmonton is all speed. Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. It's just constant speed pressure. They overwhelmed the Dallas Stars with their speed to finish it in, I believe they finished it in 5, if I'm not mistaken. In 5. Even though the Stars had a 2-goal lead, they took Otter out, and then shit hit the fan. They this is all game 5. The Oilers scored in like a span of a minute twice, tie the game, and then like 2 minutes later they scored the third goal, and that was basically a wrap. And then for us in the Florida Panthers, we gave up 1-0, game 4 at home. But the rest of the games were basically non-competitive. Once you got to like the third period, we scored 5 goals in every win, at least 5 goals in every single win. We just hit them on the boards, hit them on the floor check. Our defense is great. And once we get on offense, it's swing the puck around the blue line, the back line, and just find shots, get deflections. And, when you look at Jones to Chuck, Reinhardt, which I hope he's okay and he can play, Connor Verhaeghe, Rodriguez. I mean, it is Barkov. We are lit. And then Bobrovsky standing on his head. So I'm expecting a crazy series in the finals because of the 2 differing styles, but I think that the Florida Panthers are going to get that second cup just because, like, Maurice is a great coach, and I just think that with Marchand, I just think we're the better team. We're just better suited, physical, big. Yes, we can skate. We have to take care of Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. Leon Draisaitl led the league in scoring this year. And goals. But I got the Panthers in 6. I think the Oilers are going to make it a series, but I got the Panthers in 6. All right. So we go from, remember that blowout, that crazy comeback by the Pacers with Naismith and Halliburton and overtime? Well, the second game at the Mecca, and the Knicks come up short again after a slugfest of a game. At the Knicks' pace, so the Knicks did succeed in slowing it down, but they just couldn't come up with the final shots to take the lead at the end of the game. They had chances. The game was tied at some points in the fourth, but big free throws by Naismith and Turner put the lead back in control for most part for the Pacers. Siakam had a 36-piece. Which Siakam had 39. And then you also had 52% shooting from the Pacers. And another 36-piece from Brunson, but it wasn't enough. Now, now we're all the way to game 6. So, but it back then after that game, I was like, 2-0 going to a hostile environment, Indiana. The only thing that they can hold their head on is that they were 5-1 on the road in the playoffs, and that Halliburton, Naismith, and Turner, I believe, all shoot worse at home, which is something kind of weird. But, I still gave the Knicks a shot because I believed in Brunson and Cat could kind of figure it out, and Tibbs was not going to be super stubborn. And we see it as the series has gone on that he has not been. But they just couldn't hold it together. They did fight back because the Pacers had most of control in this game, although it was kind of played at the Knicks' pace. But they did fight back. They had the Pacers late fourth quarter push to make it a lead of 9, with 2 minutes left. It just made it a tall mountain to climb. Along with Brunson, a foul on an out of bounds pass when Josh Hart on a layup cut it to 1. Naismith was kind of cutting across the court to receive the inbounds pass. Halliburton passed it. It looked like it was going to go out of bounds anyway. It looked like a bad pass, but Brunson held his jersey. Naismith's jersey got called for the foul. They went to the line. That made it 3, and then they really just couldn't get close after that. Just offensive rebounds killed them as well. Miles Turner, Naismith killed them on offensive rebounds late in the game. And then the Pacers led the clock for the last two possessions. So they were down 2-0, the Knicks. Then you go to game 3. And then Knicks win game 3 after being down 20. So they go down 20, like they did against Boston, and they come back. They're they become, I think, the first team ever, or one of the only teams ever, to come back from 3 20-point down deficits and win in the playoffs. The Pacers were up 20 in the second quarter. They cut it down to 13 at halftime, did the Knicks. And it took them all the way to the last 4 minutes in the fourth quarter to take the lead behind Cat and Brunson, as Brunson sat for a long time in the fourth because of foul trouble once again. They just attacked Brunson on offense. Brunson being on defense, they just attack him and they just don't let him. They just shoot over him and uses 6'2" against him. He tries, but they use it against him. And but behind Cat, Cat took over. Cat figured it out in game 3 that he could drive to the basket and nobody was going to stop him. Not Miles Turner, not Naismith, not Nembhard, nobody. They just couldn't stop him from going to the rim. From drive down, top of the key, just driving, getting layups at the rim, getting fouled, and just Cat realized that. He scored 20 of his 24 in the fourth quarter. And Brunson just had 23, but the Knicks won. So now it's 2-1, right? It was a battle of timely shot making, clutch baskets. The Pacers just didn't hit them. The ones that they hit in game 1 and game 2, they just didn't hit. They did go down in game 3. And it was Cat and Brunson. Brunson at the end, last 4 minutes, scored as well. He scored like 2-3 baskets to kind of put it out of reach. And great defense. Great defenses against Halliburton. Great defense against their moving offense, making them play in the half court late in the game. And they got the win. So now it's 2-1. Okay, now it's 2-1. You're like, okay, this is a series. But then game 4 comes. Pacers are ahead all game. Double digits into the fourth quarter. Knicks fight back. Cat gets hurt, his knee. He bangs it with Naismith. and he goes down for a bit with 2:11 left. And then a Hart and Turner foul out with 1:09 left on both sides. And then Toppin hits a dagger three with 45 seconds left, but 2.6 seconds left on the shot clock. And how it happened, it was basically Halliburton was going to lose the ball, but before he lost the ball, actually, no, it was an out-of-bounds play, and, they were defending. It was about to be a 5-second violation, but then Obi Toppin found himself open after Miles Robinson tried to double on the inbounds pass. It got passed out to Obi Toppin, and he hits the three with 45 seconds left and 2.6 seconds left on the shot clock. Halliburton drops a magnifique 32, 12, and 15 with 0 turnovers. First player ever to have that stat line in basketball, not just in the playoffs. Stephen A. said that he saw some flashes of Magic Johnson in him. I just thought that he played a great game. He was aggressive, 12 rebounds, great on the boards, 15 assists. The supporting cast definitely made their presence felt. You had Siakam with 30. Brunson had 31. The Pacers killed in fast break points, 22 to 9. 17 turnovers for the Knicks. The Pacers also get a little bit of help from the refs. They were in the bonus, 7 minutes left. And then the offensive rebounds, the same thing that killed them in game 2. Also destroyed the Knicks. And then Ben Mathurin off the bench, he scored 20. So now it's 3-1. You come off a game where Tyrese Halliburton is basically unstoppable, unguardable. You can't get you get close, but you can't fight through the finish line. Obi Toppin hits that three, puts it out of reach. And as Cat and Brunson both miss potentially game tying threes, Brunson airballs it. Hart catches the rebound, passes it to Cat, and Cat front rims it, and the game's over. 3-1. Going back to the Mecca, where they haven't won. And you're like, oh, man, this is going to be crazy. The Knicks could possibly go home. But I always said, when they go back to New York, I think the Knicks have it. They're just going to come out with fight. The crowd's going to be into it. Tibbs in game 4 started playing more people. Landry Shamet started playing Precious Achiuwa. Kept Campaign on the bench because he's a liability. He played Deuce McBride. So he started, widening his rotation. Now he's playing 9 and 10 guys, so people are not tired. So in Game 5, the Knicks do that same strategy. They play 10 guys, but the defensive intensity was there from moment 1. Yes, you got 14 from Brunson in the first quarter. You got 12 from Cat in the first quarter. Very aggressive, and they both played absolutely incredible. You had Brunson with 32, Cat with 24 and 13. They forced 19 turnovers. The defense never let up. They were up by 22 multiple times. The Pacers tried to make a comeback, cut it down to 11, I believe, but the Knicks survived that. Deuce McBride hit a 3, or it was Landry Shamet hit a 3 and basically cut that off. And then when they tried to come back again, Brunson cut that off. Halliburton played awful. They forced him into his worst tendencies, which is basically they were picking him up basically almost 94 feet, making him turn, dwindling down the shot clock. If you dwindle down the shot clock, a transition team becomes a lot less dangerous because they have to work in the half court at a fast pace. That's where the turnovers happen. He only took 7 field goal attempts. He only scored 8 points. Everybody struggled for the Pacers, including Siakam. And the Knicks just bludgeoned them in defense, just suffocated them to this win. Bridges was great in the fourth. Mitchell Robinson was great all game, playing great defense and rebounding. So it was a wire-to-wire win by the Knicks in Game 5. Now they have to go to Game 6 tonight in Indiana. Indiana has to win tonight. And the reason they have to win tonight is because you don't want a Game 7 at the Mecca. You don't want that. You don't want that type of momentum to go against you. You know, Brunson, I think, is going to come out on fire tonight. He's going to try to win. They're going to try to win early. They know it's going to be a slobber nest, so they need to get the first punch in. But I think the Pacers are going to try to push the pace. It depends how they let them play, the refs, obviously. But it depends if the Knicks still keep up that defensive pressure, still keep up that 10-man rotation with McBride, Mitchell Robinson. Hart came off the bench because he decided that the second unit needed him more. Landry Shamet, Precious Achua. You know, so it's going to be up to Tibbs. It's going to be up to Brunson and Cat. Cat can't get into foul trouble. Cat, this game, again, just took over, going to the rim, being aggressive, not settling for threes, going downhill, getting fouled, going to the line, hitting layups. He's found out that he cannot be guarded in this series when he's going downhill, and that's what I think the Knicks are going to try to lean on, him and Brunson, to get this win. OG Anunoby could have a big game tonight. I think Mikal Bridges keeps a hot hand, especially from the mid-range. Deuce McBride is going to be a big contributor because he's good on defense and he can hit threes. Landry Shamet as well. I look for the Knicks to force a Game 7. I just see this Knicks team as a team that just has been there, done that when it comes to these big moments. But then again, you have Tyrese Halliburton, who could have another virtuoso. Siakam could go off. You look at a guy like Nembhard. Ben Mathurin has been having 2 great games back-to-back, 20 and 21 off the bench. So it's going to be very interesting. I have the Knicks tonight, I believe. I don't think the Pacers figure out a way to speed it back up again unless it's turnovers and misses. Other than that, if the Knicks play just like they played, just like the pace they played in Game 4, in Game 5, which is at their pace, only allowed 94 points by the Pacers, they will win the game. However, if the Pacers score 114 points or more, they're more likely to win the game. They're like 28 and 1 when they score 114 points or more at home. When they don't, they're like 3 and 10. So that's the big issue there. You have to play at your pace. You have to hold them under 100 if possible. Under 114 for sure, and play the great defense, force those turnovers. Don't allow them to play in the transition. Don't allow them to run the half and make them execute in the half court. Okay. All right. On the other side, OKC Wolves. The Wolves only had 1 win. It was in Game 3. They blew the daylights out of They blew the daylights out of OKC. The game was over in the first half, essentially. They went up by as much as 40. They won by 41. They just played a hellacious type of defense. Starting with Anthony Edwards. They forced turnovers. They made them play in the half court, and people made shots. But unfortunately, being up 31 at halftime, when they were up 20, I thought it was not enough. When they were up 25, I still thought it was. When they were up 30 at halftime, I was like, okay, but you have to come out gangbusters in the second half because OKC cut it down to 23, and then they pushed it out and ended the game with the first 5 minutes of the third quarter. However, they could not keep the same game plan discipline for Game 4. Unfortunately, they could not do it. OKC stayed close, dominated the game for the most part, lead-wise, just like the Pacers did. The Wolves tried to the Wolves tried to in game four after game three, it was a blowout. I mean, it was a great game for everybody. But the Wolves tried to keep it close to end it, to try to get back to 2-2. But unfortunately, Julius only had 15 points. 5 points, unfortunately. The bench was the only thing that kept them in it. 64 points from the bench. You had 40 from SGA, J-Dub with 34. You had Chet with 21. Just the top three, the big three just went off. Chet, unfortunately, down the stretch with the offensive rebounds, he kept making threes. Once OKC turned it into the foul game, they were 50% from the field. And then, unfortunately, they just could. Ant and Julius could not get it done. They couldn't get anything going. They tired out Ant. Just relentless pressure, making him turn in the half court, trying to beat people off the dribble. That's what he has to learn. He has to learn to play with his back to the basket. He has to learn the Michael Jordan, the Kobe Bryant, the Dwayne Wade game. The shoulder fake. Back to the basket. The Carmelo. The post game. That's his next evolution. And then the consistency on the defensive end. Constantly be engaged. Constantly be focused. Not let anything slip by. But the thing about the Thunder is, Mo, this defense is absolutely, I don't know if they just are taking risk with the type of defense they're playing or the refs are allowing so much and the Wolves were so afraid to play that way because they thought they were going to get in foul trouble because of what happened in game one. With the 7 free throw attempts in 4 minutes for SGA. Maybe that scared them off, but they should have been playing the same defense they played in game 3, in game 4 and 5, but they just couldn't. Game 4 was essentially the nail in the coffin in this series because game 5 was an absolute massacre, and it was over in the first quarter, 26-9. A turnover frenzy for OKC. You had 32 from SGA, and Randall tried to be aggressive, but they couldn't get nothing going. And the Avalanche just kept coming after the first quarter, and they had a 32-point lead at halftime. Did OKC. Wolves cut it down to 23 in the third, and then wheels fell off in the first 4 minutes of the fourth. So Timberwolves make it back to the Western Conference Finals for a second year in a row. They should probably go after KD. They need that type of scoring when nothing is going. They need that creator that can create anything out of nothing, and that's KD. I think it'd be a great compliment to Ant. Ant has to learn how to develop a post game. He has to develop how to finish at the basket even better. Instead of doing all this fancy stuff just off the glass and just finish layups. There was a bunch of layups in this series that he just missed at the rim. He has to learn how to go back to his mid-range jumper that has to find a balance between the 3 and the mid-range. But this series was basically OKC hellacious defense versus Timberwolves not being able to establish a foothold besides in game 3. As for OKC, if they face the Pacers, I believe it's a sweep. I just think that the Pacers are too frail. It's not enough. If you thought that Ant had problems at 6'6", almost probably 210, 220, Halliburton at 6'8", 6'9", 180 pounds is going to have more of a problem with Lu Dort, with Alex Caruso, which absolutely was a pest and a monster defensively in this series, hitting key threes, stealing the ball, just demoralizing the Wolves when Alex Caruso came in as the only championship winner, on the team. that makes sense that he could thrive in that environment. He's also a 2-time first-team all-defense player and would have been a third team this year if he played enough games. Lou Dort is a monster. J-Dub defending is a monster. So is Shai. So is Cason Wallace, another guy that steals the ball and makes threes. And once they get to running, it's very hard to stop. However, that's against the Pacers. If the Knicks force a Game 7 and win Game 7, I think that is a way better matchup for a way worse matchup for the OKC Thunder. And the reason why is because Brunson, you can't stop him. You can't stop Brunson. Brunson's faced Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Giannis. He's faced anybody. Drew Holiday, Derek White, anybody in front of him. He's faced them and he's conquered them. He's facing Naismith, Nembhard, Obi Toppin. It doesn't matter. You're not going to stop Brunson from scoring, from affecting the game. Also, the Knicks don't turn over the ball and are not as careless as the Timberwolves, and the pace will definitely be slowed down because the Knicks will force OKC to play in the half court. And if we're talking about the Pacers, you're not just talking about Halliburton having to face those defenders. You're also talking about Halliburton having to face those offensive Shai, J-Dub on his defensive end, and I don't think he could do it. Oh, but they're going to use Brunson as a liability on defense. So is the Pacers, and look how that's going so far. It's 3-2. They can win the series. It was 3-1. They could. There's still a shot. We'll see tonight. But I think that Cat is it's a way worse matchup for Chet just because of the size difference. You see how what he's doing to Miles Turner. He's just barreling over him. The only guy that can maybe stay in front of him is Isaiah Hartenstein, and he'll get into foul trouble. I think that Brunson going to the line is very, very, very likely. Very likely with how aggressive and how crafty Brunson is. He's just like SGA. They're going to the line. It's going to be free throw for free throw type of battle. It's going to come down to the glue parts. It's going to come down to OG Anunoby facing SGA. It's going to come down to Josh Hart facing SGA. Mikal Bridges facing SGA. OG Anunoby versus J-Dub. Cat versus Chet and Hartenstein. That's what it's going to come down to. And if Thibodeau will extend his lineup just like he's doing in the late part of this Pacers series, because that OKC team goes 10 deep. The benches, I think, can cancel out each other. I like Deuce McBride against Cason Wallace. They're both defensive two-way guys that can hit threes. Alex Caruso is going to be the big matchup kind of nightmare, I guess. But then again, Brunson scores over anybody. So that doesn't matter. He's not going to care. Like Ant was kind of bothered by Alex Caruso. The steals, the coming in, I think there's going to be a lot more fouls called. Tibbs doesn't, the Knicks team knows how to play on the half court, knows how to play an offense. I think it's going to be a great series if it's the Knicks. If it's the Pacers, it might be over in 4. At most 5, and it ugly, like blowouts, because I just don't see how two teams that are high-paced, but one is a legendary defense, and the other one just relies on threes and ball movement when OKC loves being in passing lanes, loves being aggressive in dribble drives and packing the paint, is going to be very interesting, and I think a big disadvantage for the Pacers. I hope we get Knicks OKC. It looks like OKC Pacers. I think it's going to be a low rating type of finals if it's Pacers OKC. If it's the Knicks versus OKC, it'll be super high rating. Definitely more than the last two. But I'm very excited to see Game 6 tonight. I have the Knicks winning. I think the Knicks go and force Game 7 at the Mecca. I have the Knicks winning this series. I just think that Cat has found something. I think Brunson feels comfortable. They just have to avoid the avalanche of turnovers and transition, especially in Indiana. But they already won in Indiana, So I believe that they can do it. Other than that, go Panthers. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. God bless you guys. I hope that I could keep coming, making more videos for you guys. I know that I take my time because of my crazy schedule, but I really am trying. I love you guys. Please support. Please share with your friends. If you like my takes, if you don't like my takes, comment anyway. It all helps. And follow me on my socials. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I love you guys, and I leave you all with the outro.